Not even the darkest cells of the notorious Evin prison have silenced this fearless fighter for freedom. Narges Mohammadi, a name that's become synonymous with the battle for human rights in Iran. Her life has been a cycle of arrest and re-arrest, now serving a 10-year prison term and sentenced to 154 lashes. Not only has the regime taken away her freedom, the last time she held her twins Ali and Kiana was 8 years ago. They were only 8. A sacrifice so painful, but life without liberty and equality, she says, is not worth living. For her activism, Mohammadi has been accused of actions against national security and propaganda against the state, and she's now facing more charges as she continues to defiantly speak out from behind bars. In an exclusive recording from inside Evin, Mohammadi reads excerpts of a letter she sent CNN.
This letter is not written by a free feminist in a developed democratic society benefiting from civil protest methods and human rights, but rather by an imprisoned woman who, like millions of Iranian women, has been living under the authority and oppression of a military system with ideological, patriarchal, and tyrannical foundations since the age of 6, deprived of life, youth, femininity, and motherhood.
In her lengthy letter, Mohammadi rails against the regime's compulsory hijab. Mohammadi calls out what she says is the hypocrisy of the religious authorities. Female protesters and prisoners sexually assaulted. As Iranians rose up on the streets last year, she lent her powerful voice to the uprising, and for that she was recently sentenced to another year in prison. But that hasn't deterred Mohammadi, who with the help of intermediaries responded to CNN questions in writing, detailing incidents of sexual assaults dating back to 1999. She also mentions her own experience. But since the protests, she says, they have increased significantly, describing them now as systematic. She writes, "In prison, I have heard the narratives of 3 protesting women who were sexually assaulted. One of them was a well-known activist of the student movement who, upon entering the prison, filed a complaint with the authorities and announced that after being arrested on the street, her one hand and one leg were cuffed and tied, and in that position she was sexually assaulted. I went with one of my cellmates under the pretext of taking food for a prisoner. We saw bruises on her stomach, thighs, arms, and legs." The Iranian regime has denied allegations, including a CNN investigation, of using sexual violence and rape to suppress the protests, calling them baseless and false. For years, Mohammadi has been the voice of the voiceless, fighting for political prisoners against the death penalty and solitary confinement, something she and her husband, Taghi Rahmani, have both endured. Rahmani, a former political prisoner who was jailed for 14 years, now lives in exile with the children in Paris. He's had to be both father and mother to Kiana and Ali.
Kiana used to always say, when mom is here, daddy isn't, and when daddy is here, mom isn't. It's not good, but when someone chooses a path, they must endure all the hardships.
The last time they were allowed to call her was 18 months ago. Ali still vividly remembers the day his mother was taken away from them.
It was around 6 or 7 a.m. My mum made me eggs. She said, "Take care of yourself and study hard." We said goodbye. I got into the car and went to school. When I got back, my mum wasn't there anymore.
Ali says he's proud of his mom and has accepted this life. He says it's for freedom, for Iran. Rahmani shows off all the awards his wife has won while in prison. She's an endless energy for freedom, he tells us. An unstoppable force. Her fight extending deep inside Evin, where she leads women who continue to protest. Their chants of woman, life, freedom, captured in this recording shared with CNN. They sing the Farsi rendition of Bella Ciao, the Italian anti-fascist resistance song, now an anthem for Iran's freedom movement. Jumana Kanache, CNN.